Hello and welcome back to the Portadown Preview Show. I'm Neil, and tonight joining me is Dave Wiggins. Dave, how are you keeping?
Keeping very well. Are you, Neil?
I am, Neil. I feel like I haven't introduced myself the last few weeks, so I thought, why not do it tonight?
I'm thinking,
Just in case people couldn't differentiate between the two of us.
Flip, if I don't know you by now, we're in big trouble. Like, imagine seeing your face week in, week out, week in, week out. No, I'm doing good. I've taken myself out of my wee attic office down to the living room here just for change of scenery. It's too noisy up there apparently when it's late at night. So, yeah, doing good. Are you doing all right?
Aye, not too bad. Not too bad. It's been a bit of a frantic week, but the week is drawing to a close, so it's obviously time for the preview show. So yeah,
Tell me this
here
though.
we are.
Firstly, is this the first night that you've appeared in the preview show with nothing ported down on you, or do you have a wee number underneath there?
No, this is just a generic Adidas hoodie. Did you remember there was one week I wore a Doctor Who one? I think that's the only one that it has been.
You'd probably claim
I've
the
worn.
hoodie was formerly worn by Ronnie McFall or something, and say like,
Yeah, maybe it
yeah,
was back in. We were Adidas in 2007. Ronnie McFall wore this hoodie in 2007. Claim to fame.
there you go. Oh, you probably would have had a wee black Adidas baseball hat on him as well at that stage.
Not a fan of baseball caps. Like before
Anyway,
we before we crack on with the show, I'd just like to say I'd like to express my deepest condolences to friends and family of Portadown supporter Eddie McFeeters, who passed away yesterday. So we're recording this on Thursday night. He passed away on Wednesday. So sincere condolences to his friends and family. Right, Dave. This has certainly been it's been a whirlwind week at Portadown. A lot has changed since we were last on the show last week.
has
We've
it?
had two, yeah. So we'll get straight to it. Matthew Tipton has left the club and has been replaced by former Portadown midfielder Paul Doolan. So yeah, like I mean, it's one of them things. Where do you start? Like I mean, obviously it's happened off the back of the Dungannon game. So we'll talk about the Dungannon game first. Saturday we travelled down to Shamrock Park. We brought a good support as well last Saturday, and we ended up getting beat 3-1, which was a very disappointing result, disappointing performance in a game that we were targeting to go, if we win this, we close the gap considerably. But unfortunately, it's went the other way and it widened the gap. And don't get me wrong, it's a bit of an uphill task here. And the next day, then, Matthew and Portadown had parted company with each other. Like, so give us your thoughts.
I went into the Dungannon match feeling really confident. You know that I had this thing in my head. They've beaten us twice this season. We'll understand better how they play and maybe get the better of them. Granted, it was their home match at Shamrock Park, and like you said, I was going to do. We've mentioned Ronnie McFall. I almost said like I said there. If football managers love an old like I said. But like you said, Neil, with a good crowd, and a half decent crowd almost fills Shamrock Park, doesn't it? Right round the wall, and there's a bit of drumming and a bit of singing, and there was a wee bit of anticipation of, we've got a good crowd down the road. Eden Reds were running their, it's charity month for Eden Reds, as you know, and so Gary Barr would pay for their bus, in one bus in January, which was a Dungannon match, and their bus was really full, so it was a good crowd, and expectation was there, and although down through the years, expectation and a large crowd has often brought disappointment, and Saturday past was no different. It was very difficult, and Dungannon took us apart, didn't they? We had a few opportunities, don't get me wrong, we were in the match and all of that, but Dungannon passed it, moved it better than us, they looked hungrier than us. in my opinion, they looked better set up than us, and everybody knew what they were doing. I noticed that every time we lost the ball and they won the ball, everybody knew exactly where they were supposed to be. And I'm not saying Portadown players weren't told that either, where they were supposed to be. I just think Dungannon looked more up for it. They looked more likely to score and to win the match. And that's what happened, And, O'Sheen scored a nice goal at the end. And it got a little ripple of applause because I think everybody was heading for the exits and we're kind of not even really watching the match anymore. So really, really disappointing Saturday. And then obviously there was a conversation with the board and Matthew on the Sunday. And then the news came out that the two had parted ways. And that's always difficult, isn't it? Football's different to any other business or industry where it all just falls on the manager, really. And Matthew was no longer a manager then, and it's really difficult because obviously he played for us for a long time. We've all got to know him and his wife and his kids, and George still an employee and a player of the club. And you grow fond of people. You see them a lot. You talk to them. You get to know them. You become friendly with them, and then all of a sudden it's kind of over. So it's hard to separate the football from the person. And of course, we wish Matthew all the best. He worked hard for the club, and on a personal level, we'll miss him being around, regardless of the football. The time I think just came where I suppose everyone was looking on going, where are we actually going to get points from here? And, is the team improving? Do we look like we're going to keep ourselves up? Are we going to, Dungannon crawled another 3 points ahead of us. We're sort of struggling to catch Carrick. So it just looks like a straight dogfight between ourselves and Warren Point Town for who's going to go down and who's going to be in a playoff. Not saying we can't, slowly climb the table, but it's just what it was looking like. And I suppose we had to bring about some freshness. And like you said, what a week really, from getting duffed at Dungannon to parting company with the manager to then employing a new manager on Monday night, Tuesday morning, in the shape of Paul Doolan, our former midfielder. Yeah, it's been busy, hasn't it?
It has indeed. And I think as well, I think a lot of people, listen, there's going to be a lot of negativity flying around, especially whenever, a manager and a club have parted ways, like you said. But I think a lot of people, it usually takes a while, after, the dust is settled and stuff. But I think a lot of people, they need to remember that how much good work Matthew Tipton has done, on and off the pitch at Portadown. He's effectively went into the roots of that club and tried to build it from the bottom up, with the youth teams and the academy. And you've got to remember all the young players have been brought through to the senior setup and stuff. There's been a pathway for young players coming through, to make it into the first team and stuff. And that's something that a lot of managers wouldn't have the cojones to do. And, he's done it. And he's like, I know obviously in the short term, of course, it looks bleak at the minute, because we are in a relegation dogfight, but, there's some very good young players coming through that hopefully in the future, we'll be able to perform very well for Portadown and, put us in the right direction. So I think Matthew needs to be praised for that. He has done a lot of good work on and off the pitch at Portadown, and a really, really friendly fella, and, good to talk to and stuff. And yeah, definitely wish him all the best for the future as well. So
absolutely, yeah. And you're saying about that. You're saying about youth structure, academy. You've got your under-20s playing in the Premiership Development League and the 18s playing in the Premiership Development League. And a football club is, of course, more than just the men's senior team, isn't it? There's a ladies' team, there's the youth, there's all the teams right down. However, for the senior team to drop down to the championship affects all those other things in such a big way, right? when you drop down there, I think there's maybe grace for a season, but after a season, then I think the under-20s and under-18s drop out of that development sort of league, and then you're not attracting the better players and you're not able to bring the better players through. So effectively, there is pressure there on the senior men's team, the first team, and ultimately the manager. And I think that's where that pressure comes from. Ultimately, if there's no relegation, then there is no pressure. So it's the pressure of dropping down to the next division, which ultimately leads to pressure and decisions having to be taken. So yeah, it's the closing of another chapter at Portadown and the opening of a new chapter. And I think you have to, put your bookmarker in there and look forward then and read the next chapter of the book, which is a cheesy thing that I've just said, but Paul Doolan is now the manager. We've got 13 or 14 matches left, and we have to get behind him and do everything we can to make sure we stay in the top division.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest, whenever he was appointed, I was surprised in the sense that there were a lot of names flying about, potential replacements and whatnot, and it's sort of as if his name sort of came left field, and which I suppose shouldn't really be a surprise because he's been a very successful manager. He played at the club in the 90s. Won the League and Cup double. Part of a very famous side, and
I heard a great stat. Sorry, I heard a great stat. So he played for us on 2 separate occasions. And I think he also played for 3 or 4 other teams in Ireland on 2 separate occasions. So he's one of maybe the only or one of very few players to have played for 4 different teams and played for all 4 of them on 2 separate occasions. There you go.
Right, okay.
I'm not sure where I got that from. If it was Marshall Gillespie, I better make sure that I give him his dues, but I'm not sure. I just read it on Twitter somewhere.
Right, okay. I am aware that Paul was the first person to win the league down south and up north as well. So there you go. But yes,
he's a manager now.
Yes, so he's a manager now. He's had tremendous success at Drogheda. He's managed Cork, the Republic of Ireland, under 16s and under 19s as well, I believe. And
23s as well, I think 23s.
Oh, okay.
As well,
and when you have that on your CV, you're obviously a top manager. So, fingers crossed that it all works out and we can all get behind Paul. And he was at the game on Tuesday night there against Crusaders. So,
do you know what I was wondering? I was wondering the other day, and I couldn't be bothered looking it up. I wondered, did he ever manage the Republic of Ireland players, Declan Rice and Jack Grealish?
I think I saw something about Jack Grealish and Paul Doolan. I think anyway. I just flying around, so I'm not sure. Those really prominent Irishmen that play for England now.
maybe you could get Declan Rice in for the rest of the season here.
Yeah, indeed. Here, do you know what? Maybe Portadown should put in a bid for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Give him a bit of game time. I'll take him all right. But no, listen.
Yeah,
he was at the game. He was at the game on Tuesday night there against Crusaders. Portadown, I thought, put in a dogged performance, but unfortunately fell to a 1-0 defeat. Late on again, last minute, bit of quality from Ben Kennedy, turned and stroked the ball into the net, and it was very disappointing. But I think there was enough there. Like, if you look at, listen, I know where people are going to roll their eyes listening to me saying this, but to me in the Crusaders game the other night, there were positives. They were dogged. They dug in. They battled well, and it was just so unfortunate to concede a late goal. But that's what happens when you're down at the bottom. Do you know what I mean? No luck. So we need to make our own luck, and hopefully one of these results is going to come soon, because I was very deflated after the Crusaders game was gutted. Do you know what I mean? So.
I just wanted to mention one other thing about the Dungannon situation. Aren't Dungannon 9 points ahead of us, or they were going into that match anyway?
So going into the game on Saturday, they were 6 ahead of us. Then they beat us, so they were 9. And then Carrick got beat last week as well against Corey, so they were 8 ahead of us going into Tuesday. So, but then Carrick obviously hammered Ballymena, and then Dungannon got beat. So Dungannon are 9 clear of us now.
And what I was thinking was Dungannon have beaten us 3 times this season. There's your 9 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas last season we beat Dungannon 4 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's something there about, people have gone on the Dean Shields, whatever, good manager, of course, he knows what he's doing, but it's not like they're running away and beating loads of teams and all of that. They've beaten us 3 times, their nearest rival there, and kept themselves 9 points ahead of us. And that's the difference at the minute, I saw stats as well. I don't think they've lost against any of the teams in the bottom 4, and they've maybe won 5 and drawn 1 of those matches or something like that. So they're getting results to teams around us, whereas at home, we're coming close against your Linfields, Larnes, Cliftonville, Crusaders. You maybe playing really well and losing by the odd goal. Those are some of the wee margins that you're just missing out on. And I was talking to one of our young players after the Crusaders match, and I was saying, well, what about the new manager? And did you get in? And obviously Trevor and Neil McCullough were looking after things on Tuesday night. But I know Paul Doolan was around and having conversations and guiding people. And, he was sitting in the director's box and he was heading every ball and his leg was moving up and down. So he was really in the match, And when Kennedy scored late, you could see he was really disappointed because it was, 1 point dropped, really. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, the young player said, he was talking about he felt like we were tired for the last 15 or 20 minutes of the match. And when you think about how much work that we have to do to try and hold on to some of those matches to try and get a draw, and then we've maybe conceded a late goal, maybe it does come down to just having that extra little bit of energy or fitness or focus, making sure you're still focused at 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93 minutes, because those are the margins, But by all accounts, it sounds like the players, this is Thursday night, they were training earlier. I would say they were doing a lot of running and sprinting and maybe trying to improve their fitness a little bit, because when you hear people more intelligent than us talking, they always say these things come down to very fine margins. Sometimes the difference between no points and 1 point, or 1 point and 3 points. And ultimately going forward, we're just going to have to sharpen up on a few things and hope that we can turn a draw into a win, or a narrow defeat, try and hold on to a draw, for example. But we're getting to that period where we do have to play some teams around us, and then after the split, everybody will be playing everybody, and there'll be 6-pointers every week. And I don't think I've lost faith that we can't cling on and maybe just get into 10th place. I really hope that we can, I really hope that we can. I don't want to face a playoff. I just think that would be horrible,
Yeah, I can't. In my time, we've never been in the playoff, so we've been close to it, but we've never been in it. So it will be.
We were in the playoff against that was was the Carrick match. Was Carrick a pre-playoff a couple of years ago? 3 years ago?
That was the 18-19 season, and that was, you had first place went up automatically, and then second played third in a pre-playoff, and then the winner of that then played second bottom. So then Carrick obviously won that. And then, but then, you know what? That second v third for a playoff was a joke, because Carrick were like 15 points clear of us and all. Do you know what I mean? It was a farce, in my opinion, that we even ran that in the first place. But they don't do that anymore, but they've been that. So, that's the only playoff, that we've been in my lifetime. So,
So I think Paul Doolan's whole thing is, it seems from conversation, yes, if there's a player available or two players available, there's money there to sign them to improve us. It's just who is available. But I think ultimately he feels like he can come in and take the team who's there and squeeze a little bit more out of them, and in that way improve us, which I liked as well. I mean, if there's a player there who's ready to be signed and who would improve us, we'll be able to do that. But I like the fact that he's very focused and saying there's a group of players here, and can I squeeze more out of them and improve them even slightly, find margins again, and try and do enough just to climb the table that one place, or at least go on a run and win some matches before a potential playoff. Because the difficulty is, if that's going to be against Ballinamallard or Loughgall or Liana or whoever that could be, those teams will be winning matches, whereas we're struggling to win matches. So I think we have to learn how to win again, and maybe try and put a wee bit of a run together. Difficult though, isn't it? It was disappointing against Crusaders. It was so close again, just so very close.
So close, but yet so far at the very same time. By the end of the full-time whistle, it's gotten, like you're saying there about improvements and new signs and stuff. Since the show last week, albeit he hasn't been able to make his debut yet, Portadown have signed a striker called Elliot Duggan.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that he's going to be available for this Saturday. What do you make of him then, Dave?
Yeah, I don't know anything about him. I mean, we've all seen his YouTube reel, haven't we?
I haven't actually, no. No.
It's floating about there somewhere, but like I always say with YouTube reels, mate, you should see my YouTube reel because there's no crap on there. There's only my 3 best goals, like. But I got talking to him at he was chatting with Paddy McNally at the Dungannon match, so I sort of moseyed in for a wee chat, and he seems like a nice guy. He's a striker, so listen, he's confident. All the kit manager said was he's a handsome big fella, and so he is. But just talking to him, I was like, we were getting beat at the time, and I was like, oh, Flip, you've come over from Cyprus here, mate. How are you feeling now? And he's like, oh, I'm just dying. I wish I was on the pitch there. I'm just dying. All I want to do is try and score goals. I'm just about scoring goals. And I was saying, what sort of player are you? Do you hold it up? He says, I just want to score goals. All I want to do is score goals. So I think he's a bit of a striker. He was watching on. I said, is that the sort of standard you think you can play in? He says, oh yeah, I would love it out there. I just can't wait to get on the pitch and score some goals. So I think that's his mantra. He just loves scoring goals. But I know that his what's the word I'm looking for? Clearances.
International clearance.
Yeah, so Cyprus and English FA and all that. I think it only came through quite late on Tuesday, too late for the Crusaders match anyway. So I presume he might be on the squad for Saturday, Larne away here. Although if if the manager sees him in training tonight and he's beating everybody and scoring bagfuls of goals, maybe he'll start the match. I don't know. Yeah. I know there were a couple of other Irish League strikers, squad players, names floating about. I don't know if Matthew had tried to sign any of those, and he's gone for Dugan instead. We'll soon find out. I think it's always a bit of an unknown, isn't it? When guys come over from England, you take your chance on some of these players, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. So, but if he scores goals, like that's what we're crying out for at the minute, isn't it?
Yes, indeed, and fingers crossed it does. But like you said, he'll be in the squad this Saturday. We take on Larne at Inver Park, 5:30 kickoff. Are you looking forward to that game, Dave?
Tell me, is that on BBC or something?
No, I'm actually surprised that it's not, seeing that Larne are on nearly every week.
It is, so it's not on iPlayer or on, right? I wonder why it's 5:30. I know. It's funny now because when we were in before we dropped to the championship, we had played. Do you remember we had played a few matches on a Friday night and a Saturday evening? And it used to be that you didn't even have to ask the opposition team, as long as it was quite reasonable. You just gave them 30 days notice and you said, oh, that match has moved to the Friday night, or we're going to do a 5:30 kickoff on a Saturday. And then that was always good when you were running Oktoberfest, or you were trying to do an event or something like that. And then when we were in the championship for those couple of seasons, you had to have agreement with the other team to move the kickoff time of any match. But I actually found out now that the Premiership is the same as the Championship, where you can't just say we're moving it. You have to have agreement between both teams to move a match. So Larne did ask for a 5:30 kickoff on Saturday.
You know what? I'm gonna actually. I like the idea of it. To be fair, that it is at 5:30, because it gives the opportunity for boys that and girls, that they're playing football, or other sports on a Saturday. It gives them the opportunity to be able to go to the game. So hopefully, like Larne are obviously going to be banking, they'll have more support because of it. Portadown, as a fan base, and even the town itself has a lot of people that play in the Middlester League. So hopefully, a few more of those boys can come as well and come to the game and stuff. So I'm all for a variety of different kickoff times. I mean,
there's other reasons too. Like, there's people who work a day shift on a Saturday who could get to a 5:30 kickoff. There's the footballers. Then there's family. If you can spend a bit more time with your family on a Saturday, it's much easier to get away for a 5:30 kickoff than a 3:00 kickoff. Or, if the kids have matches at 10 or 11 a.m. on a Saturday here, there, and everywhere. Sometimes a Saturday 3:00 turns into a bit of a rush to get there, or if you're trying to get there for 2:00 even. So I like Friday nights and tea time on a Saturday. I know everybody doesn't. Some people hate the Friday night thing, but I think the 5:30 on a Saturday, depending on what match is on the TV, I think it's a great time for a kickoff. You can still have your Saturday doing what you need to do. You go to the match. I even like the idea of like a 7:00 or 7:15 kickoff on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Come and watch the match, the tea time match, have a few drinks, support your team, and then either you're going home or you're a youngster and you're going out after the match. I think it would just lead nicely. Can you imagine, you're a Middlester footballer, you play your match, you come to Shamrock Park, you watch a match on the big screen and do a bit of socialising, and then you watch Portadown, and then you're all out in town. I just think it would be a great Saturday,
Yeah.
But listen, Inver Park, 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. What do you reckon?
I don't want to say too much. I don't want to scud us as well. What I'm hoping for is a new manager bounce. And listen, Portadown and Larne last season and this season, the games are very, very close every time. It just seems to be like, the way, like, listen, I know Larne have beaten us this season and all, but it seems to be like you said, Dungannon have our number, basically. I sort of feel, not saying that we have their number at all, but we seem to know how to play against them, and it seems to work. Last season there was the two each where myself and you got down to see it at Inver Park. Then they beat us 2-1 the game, and we beat them 2-1 the game. The one Lee scored the last minute winner. Then this season there's been a 3-2, there's been a 2-2. So I'm hoping we'll get the victory on Saturday. But I'm always optimistic when we play Larne, to be perfectly honest with you, because I just feel that I think you can get at them, to be perfectly honest. I think you can get at them. And what I will say, like I said it plenty of times on the show last season, and I notice he's back into the fray now. Got Connor Devlin back, and I think he'd help solidify them there. Now that they've had a couple of bad results recently, albeit they did beat Warren.
I thought you were going to say he'll help us get an extra point or two, because he's always a bit nervous against us. Having said that, I think,
he's still one of the best keepers in the league.
of course,
And
he is.
I stand by that. But they've had a couple of bad results recently. And for me, they are massively underachieving in the league. And they'll be looking, obviously, on paper, they should be beating us. And there's no excuse. But I always feel that Portadown seem to know how to play against them. And I'm confident we can get something on Saturday. Like, I'm not going to sit here now and go, we're going to win 8-0 or something. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, but I just, if it's, I remember I said that game last season, we were down in Inver, we kept it at 2-1, and I was like, we'll get one chance here, and we took it right at the end. And I'm looking forward to Saturday. I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'd be a nice wee trip. I'm hoping for a bus trip on Saturday. No, without raking up the past,
I
Obviously,
know where you're going to go.
Well, obviously, bonus has been the difference in, points against Larne, and he's always played really well against them, and like scared the shit out of them a wee bit. He was always like just leaving a wee bit in, putting the keeper under pressure, battering into them. And incidentally, I imagine they've signed him off the back of all the times when he's given them grief, really. He obviously made a big difference when we were playing Larne. Can we still play that kind of hassling style without him?
Well, we'll soon find out, to be perfectly honest. Of course, Lee's obviously left a massive void there, but, other people are going to have to come to the forefront now. We've got good players there, and, and now Elliott's came in as well. So, fingers crossed they can pick up the mantle that's been left there. I know there was a lot of people very worried that, because Lee hadn't scored for them yet, that he was going to break his duck against us, but he's already done it now against Warrenpoint. So
did you see his goal against Warrenpoint?
No, I was sulking after the game the other night. I wouldn't watch the highlights.
Listen, Lee probably listens to this every week still. We know he's a Portadown supporter. So it was the most Lee bonus goal that you will ever see. He basically battered the keeper, and nobody's even sure if the ball crossed the line, and it was given as a goal. So that was, to me, that was the most stereotypical Lee bonus goal ever, I wonder will he even play against us? Do you think he'll play against us?
Yeah. I'd be shocked if he wasn't playing. Like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, Lee is a Portadown fan, but he's a professional now. So he's gonna want to score and do the job for his new team, like, because that's who he plays for now. So, but
it's an added wee spice though, isn't it? Because Jethron won't want him scoring against them. I presume whoever's playing centre back will be trying to kick lumps out of him, and he'll be trying to kick lumps out of them as well. So it'll be a nice wee battle too. But listen, our players have got the players that we have got the potential to win that match as well. Like you said, it's always quite close. There's nothing to fear, and we'll maybe get the luck and get the bounce of the ball and take our chances. And if we do that, there's no reason why we can't come home with a point or three. I know we often say that, but it's going to come. It doesn't happen often enough, but it is going to come now.
So what I will say is, Portadown got a really good support with them there last Saturday at Dungannon, and I implore all Portadown fans, get yourselves to Inver Park on Saturday, because it's a gargantuan task that we have here. To try and get out of this.
Gargantuan. How big of a task is gargantuan?
Massive.
Right.
Massive. We have a massive task here, but we've got a new manager. And like, come down, get behind the team, and like we always bring a good away support and stuff. But this Saturday, like, let's go down to Larne. Let's make a racket, and let's bloody well win.
What stand are we in? Do you have to walk down to the far end now? Is that the crack?
Yeah, so there's stand behind the net. So we're the the old grandstand. What's now the old grandstand? The main. Well, it is the main stand. You know what I mean? But we have to go to the far end now to walk in. Yeah, but that's what you had to do back in the day anyway. You know, if you're going into the main stand, you had to do that. You had to walk down. There was like a wee slope down the back.
But now that they've got that wee stand at the church end, you would think that would be for away fans. Although maybe the one at the far end holds more for like at Glentoran and Linfield matches and stuff like that.
Was the new stand? Well, they're both new stands, but the stand that you're talking about, the most recent one, that's for the home support. Like, so
I'm just saying, you walk right past it, you know, to walk away down. But anyway, I'm not here to solve the infrastructure issues at Inver Park. No, looking forward to it on Saturday. You know, football's football. We win, lose or draw, we'll be there anyway. And looking forward to see what sort of team Paul Doolan puts out, starting 11. And just really interested and excited to see how they respond to him as something different, and the change that we have made to try and improve things. We wish Paul all the best and hope he's successful as a Portadown manager. And if he is successful, it'll mean that we're still in the division at the end of the season, but it starts this Saturday.
It does indeed, and it's a big game, and everyone get yourselves down to Inver Park and, you know, get behind the team. Before we split, Dave, you got a wee announcement to make.
Yeah.
Yes. We talked about it before the show started.
Oh yes. No, listen. Just to say congratulations to Mark Beattie. He has been shortlisted in the ABC Council Sport Awards as Volunteer of the Year, which is really brilliant. It's a real honour for him, as obviously the head of the media team, which he denies, but he really is. Mark puts in a lot of time and energy and hours behind the scenes at Shamrock Park, and encourages people and brings things forward. And so hopefully he'll get himself a wee night out. He says he's going to bring Matt Gregg instead of his own wife to that dinner. So I hope that you enjoy yourselves.
Yes. Well done, Mark.
And listen, win, lose or draw, Mark, you're still our Volunteer of the Year. Isn't that right, Nick?
Yes, indeed. Now, just in case people are wondering, what does ABC stand for, Dave?
Armagh, Banbridge, Craigavon.
There you go. Just in case people were maybe mixing it up with the 80s pop band.
Didn't know there was one. You weren't even born in the 80s, were you?
I was born in 88, but yeah, they've got some great songs. What, Poison Arrow.
Go. Give us a wee line.
I know it, but I don't want to embarrass myself, to be honest. Like, so I'll maybe sing it on Saturday. You know, if I had a few cans and Portadown are winning, I'll maybe sing it. Did you ever play GTA Vice City back in the day?
Never did computer games, mate. I was old enough that I was just outside kicking a football all day, every day. Like.
Well, back when GTA Vice City came out for the PlayStation 2, back when I used to play the computer games, like that's one of the songs on it.
I had Donkey Kong. It was this wee thing. It was like a plastic pencil case, and you just opened it like that, and the wee screen was there. And your Donkey Kong controllers, it was class. Like.
Very good. I can't say I had that, like, but yeah, GTA Vice City, and that used to be played on it. Poison Arrow was on the radio station when you're flying about on the motorcycle down through Vice City. So there you go.
It's not an 80s pop band. It's the Armagh, Banbridge, Craigavon Council.
Right, shall we wrap things up there?
I think so.
I think so too. Folks, as always, thanks very much for watching and listening. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We are Ports TV YouTube channel, and you can find us on Spotify, Anchor, and Google Podcasts as well. So I think that's that, Dave. Thank you as always, and I'm sure I shall see you on Saturday at Inver Park.
Yeah, I hope to see you there.
Oh, you will indeed. Come on, Ports.
Behave yourself now. I know you get a bit excited when Larne's mentioned, like.
Come on.